What is the best example of just because you can doesn't mean you should? Name your kid idiotic names. I have a member of my extended family with 2 kids. The first kid, Connor, was allowed to name the second kid with no restrictions and named him Zipline. So there is a 4-year-old kid in my family tree named Zipline. Play videos with high volume at public places. Edit. OMG, thank you guys for all the upvotes and awards. I'm new to Reddit and literally jumping RN. Or talk with someone on speaker. Posting on social media that you're going on vacation. A high school friend of mine did that a couple of years ago. Multiple posts on Facebook announcing she and her husband were going to Bermuda for 2 weeks. They came home to a burgled house. There was actually an infamous story about this a while back. A couple of parents were taking a school to court over something I don't remember. It had something to do with their son. Well, the school was going to settle out of court for about $80 as long as the family signed a NDA about the outcome of the court case or any if the events related to it. Q to a week later, they were planning to go on vacation with the money, but they made the oopsie of telling their kids, and the oldest child, a girl at the age of like 17 or 18, decided to blab on Facebook about how her former school was going to pay for their vacation. Well, the school saw the tweet, forwarded to the lawyers, and suddenly the family isn't getting a dime. Edit. CNN. Just a link to the story for anybody wanting a verification. I misremembered a couple details. Was half asleep when I wrote this. Drunk calling your ex or your boss. Bank loans and credit cards. Just because you're approved doesn't mean you can afford it. Credit cards are a gray area. For some people they're a bad idea because they'll keep accruing interest. If you're good at keeping up with paying them in full, you won't have a problem with them. It's surprisingly easy to fit a light bulb in your mouth, but almost impossible to remove it without it shattering. This isn't true. For anyone curious, Stack Exchange. Blindly trusting traffic laws as a pedestrian. Yes, if you get hit, it's the driver's fault. But all it takes is for one driver not paying attention to potentially end your life. You may have been right, but you're still dead, is my dad saying for this situation. Hoard toilet paper. Yeah, tell that to all my neighbors who have so much freaking TP that they are arranging TP roll hunts in their yards and bragging about it all over Facebook, while I'm forced to go begging for TP from the one place in town that is selling it, Akara Restaurant. Link to Facebook post, Imga. Me, contemplating buying an axe this weekend so I can do some axe throwing in my backyard. Why? Because I can. You can get decent throwing hatchets for less than $50. Abuse your position / power. People who want power are generally the people who should least have it. That device allowing an Amazon carrier to unlock and open the front door of your house to deliver packages. Either one of the self-professed genius tech brothers in Silicon Valley didn't think this through, or they're incredibly naive about how easily something like that could be abused. The dog walking company I work for uses this for when the owners aren't home. Not even a one-time code. It's the same code for every walker, unless the pet parents changes it. It's mind-boggling to me that so many people are super cool letting strangers with nice profiles into their homes. I could have taken stuff so many times. Never would, but sometimes I can't help but notice. On the flip side, in the back of my mind I worry that an owner could claim I damaged or stole something, and I get in trouble, since it'd be hard to prove I didn't. Edit. Oh dear gosh, what have I done? And I know it's innocent until proven guilty legally. I'm more concerned about the company choosing the owner's side, not really about legal action. It's just something I think about from time to time. Eating the whole damn pint of ice cream. My lactose intolerance says no, but my everything else says yes. Cheating. Relationships or just in general? Bullying is a big one. I tried to bully a person once, but they just laughed. Apparently I'm not a convincing bully. That's how I found out the bullying career is not for me. Competition was too tough at my school. In the end, I finished at victim side of things and required professional assistance of the teacher in order to enforce anti-bullying regulations. Disney making crap live action versions of classic animation. Imagine a live action Toy Story. Deleted. I actually walked into the courtroom on this case for an unrelated matter and it was packed. Some details are wrong though. It was misdemeanors and the plea deal offered was a simple infraction with no fine, not felonies, and the bank claimed it hired a power washing company to remove it, which cost them a few grand. La times. Just because my a-hole can stretch to 8 inches and a raccoon can go through a 4-inch hole does not mean I should shove 2 raccoons up my a. How else am I supposed to get them past airport security? This is kind of thing you need to remind Jake Paul every 5 seconds. No. Don't film corpses. Bad. Sit. Bad human. Very bad human. Now repeat after me. I will not be an a-hole. I will not do stupidches. I will not be a stupidches. Now are you going to behave, or will I have to take away your ad revenue again? Cannibalism. It's actually legal, because no country in the world actually has a law against it. In fact, the laws were against you murdering someone, not eating them. If somebody slashed their own arm off with a sword and allowed you to eat it, you could. Should you, though? No. A lot of states in the US just turn it into a desecration of a corpse charge or other loopholes as a way to still lock the person up. But nope, no cannibalism laws. Edit. After reading all these replies, I think it's worth speculating why there isn't a law in place. My theory, which may be wrong, is that cannibalism is such an uncommon occurrence, and so many cases involve desperation and survival, that it's likely a grey area. Cannibalism when done in a malicious way usually has other crimes attached that can be addressed: murder, manslaughter, corpse desecration, etc. If there is truly no other possible crime to attach to the incident, it was most likely an innocent act for survival. That likely makes judging the occurrence in court much easier. Having kids. And if you have kids and aren't married, that doesn't mean you need to get married. My brother got convinced that by my parents and her parents to marry the girl he had a kid with. They were already living together and were both taking care of this baby, and they had an alright relationship, even though the entire thing started from a one-night stand, so they were still getting to know each other. Suddenly, he had to propose, which was coincidentally 3 weeks after I proposed to my girlfriend of 5 years, but whatever. Then, they had to get legally married before the year was over, so they could start claiming tax benefits for the next full year. Apparently money was that tight that marriage was the best option. In reality, we all would have supported them, and my brother would have worked hard to provide. Fast forward 4 years and they've got a second kid and holidays are off. My brother looks like he hates life. He hasn't been the same since before his first kid. I get a call one day from him telling me that she's moved out and they are separating. I'll learn all the details about her racking up credit card debt from bad spending habits, always spending late nights at work, and the final straw was when she literally didn't come home for 2 weeks. He finally found out where she was, another guy's house, and said he's done. He then took care of the kids by himself for 2 months before she got her chiz together and realized she didn't want to lose custody. Fast forward 3 more years and he's divorced and living with a great girlfriend of 2 years who's helping him raise his kids. They have joint custody. They switch homes every week. He lost half his 401k savings, $25k, and half his bank account. Thankfully he's much happier and returned to his old self a few months after his separation. So just because you can get married doesn't mean you need to wait a few years and see if you actually like the person you're with before signing a legally binding document that will cost tens of thousands to undo. Cloning dinosaurs. That's actually a you should. Personal anecdote. I was with friends and we were just hanging around having pizza. I'm challenged to put a bunch of different sauces and toppings on a slice of cheese pizza because I'll eat any weird food when challenged. The gauntlet included sriracha, horseradish, honey mustard, cottage cheese, and whipped cream. I downed it and was sick for the rest of the night. No vomiting, but it was not fun. Never combine sriracha, whipped cream, and horseradish. Just because I usually have an iron stomach does not mean I should eat everything I'm challenged to eat. Glad you didn't get to geckos to learn that. Nipost. I mean there's nothing physically stopping you from eating poop, but why would you? Your taste buds and nose physically stop you from doing it, but a twisted mind does not care. Pulling out your phone and taking unsolicited videos/pictures of people in public places for the entertainment of the internet. Once had some girl take pictures of me, very obviously, then laugh to herself while I was having a panic attack on the train. It's definitely not a nice feeling. Most crafts on the internet. 5-minute crafts INTNCFS. Making a cover of Hallelujah. I have to say K.D. Lang's version is my absolute favorite. Sticking your egg in a light socket. Wait, what? Commenting on Reddit. Or commenting things like thirst. Just because you can bombard kids with homework during quarantine doesn't mean you should. My 6th grade teacher never gave us homework on Fridays. I liked him. Do home chemistry. TL. Doctor of a long and stupid story. 2nd degree burns on my face. Story? Have more kids than able to handle, feed, clothe, spend time with, etc. This is so important. You're bringing whole humans into the world, not dolls you can display on a shelf. Just because you can fight off 50 hamsters at once doesn't mean that you should. You're right. We should really have a round table and hear out the demands of the hamsters. Shooting video in portrait mode. Sometimes I film in landscape, but the phone didn't recognize it was landscape, and I end up with my video sideways in portrait. This might be unpopular, but there is no need to be a Richter cops. Had a fight with my wife, and neighbors called them. I asked them in, and offered them iced tea. They ignored all the weed and bongs laying around my house. Every time I interact with them I act respectfully, and it goes okay. As a rule, I don't backtalk people who have a loaded gun on them. I used a skate a lot. When a security guard asks you to move on, you move on. They're pretty decent people trying to make a living. A lot of skaters like to act tough by squaring up to them, but they just end up looking like losers. Underage unprotected sex. I'm no prude, but it's one of those things that you just shouldn't do if you can't fully deal with the consequences yourself. If you can't drive yourself to the local pharmacy to get condoms, or to a center to get tested, if you don't want to disclose chiz to your parents, you shouldn't be doing it. Not to ruin the fun, but STDs now are rampant, and things like syphilis, which depending on the person, can have little to no symptoms, can kill unsuspecting people young and suddenly years later. The risk to benefit ratio isn't really in your odds. Not to mention underage pregnancy. Getting pregnant underage isn't a crime and people shouldn't be bullied for it, but it can mess with your life, especially if you are in high school and you got plenty of time to figure that stuff out later. Just something to think about. Unprotected sex at any age, if you can't fully deal with the consequences yourself. Manipulating weak minds. These are not the droids you are looking for. Own tigers. You'll never financially recover from it. Exercise your freedom of speech in a library. Hey, this is library. Face tattoos. Make things big text for no reason. Being a huge pose like ripping open a homeless man's tent, or stealing someone's dog then covering it in cement and glue. Instantly locks dogs inside house and never lets them out without supervision again. Just being quiet sometimes. My brother had passed away, I was out of country, so I had to return. In doing so I went to a favorite restaurant that we both worked at as teenagers. Same hostess, most of the same coworkers even later. Upon leaving, one of the waitresses said, "Please tell your brother I said hi, he was so great." I just smiled at her and told her I would. Not to lie, but her comment was so innocent, and she was at work. No reason to bring up a tragedy and in turn make her feel bad. Sorry for your loss. Smoking. But that nicotine, no, actually yee. Someone should take my money away from me. Cloning dinosaurs. That might turn out bad. Might turn out great. Ever think of that? Eating the entire packet of sugar cookies. It's a bad idea, trust me. Telling a coworker that you think she's beautiful and likable. I feel like there's a backstory to this, and I want to hear it. Free speech but using it to say something hateful. The problem is who gets to decide what is hateful and what is not. Hence we have this nebulous phrase hate speech which doesn't have a clear meaning. Not vaccinating your kids. Sleeping with friends. Just don't ever. Sleeping with friends can be bucket list fun. Sleeping with a friend is where it gets complicated. Needlessly bringing politics into every situation. It's very polarizing and can turn a potentially good conversation into an argument almost instantly. Why ruin something by bringing in antagonizing political views? Just because you have so little personality that you feel the need to start arguments to be perceived as interesting doesn't mean you have to. So you've met my dad and brother? Chiz in the shower. The film Cats, 2019. Protest coronavirus lockdown. Every time I see images of the Liberty or Die sign floating about I just think liberty and die. Try growing a mustache in the US Army. Under Army Regulation 672(1) you can. If you are in any leadership position, good luck. That's weird. What does the army not like about mustaches? Truck nuts. Become president of the United States. Well, there goes my plans. Watch murder or ducked up videos on the internet. People go through years of therapy to forget that chiz, and nowadays it's like a cool an execution video and just click it to par the time. Congratulations, you are going to have to live with those images etched in your mind forever, and you put them there merely because you were bored. Buying a Bluetooth speaker to play in a backpack. There's a special place in hell for hikers and mountain bikers who do this. Yeah, I came to the mountains so I could hear your chiz titany music. Having lots of children when you're not financially able to spend all your stimulus money on hentai. Naming your child Chad or Karen. Good thing I have Brock for a boy and Grok for a girl. Repost old AskReddit questions. As much as I dislike a repost, I would never expect anyone to read every single previous post. The search function on Reddit is garbage with only makes things worse. Murder. Pretty sure that illegal though. Undertale genocide run. Never done it and never will. By the way, don't play pacifist after genocide. Burning down an orphanage. This way they are no more going to feel the miss of parents. My patient masturbating while him charting in the room. Farting in your confused patient's room because they probably won't complain how bad it is. Repost things that aren't even yours on r/aww just for rewards or karma. Go duck around outside in the middle of a plague. Hacking in video games. I agree to an extent. If you're playing an online game, then know the entire reason I don't play Black Ops 2 multiplayer in 2020 is because of all the hackers. But on the other hand, if you're going to hack maybe something like zombies or custom zombies is probably my favorite type of hack, then you can get endless replayability. Me wearing skinny jeans. I felt that. Are you okay, dude? Just because you can break someone's heart doesn't mean you should. Living. Rape. Masturbating when you have nothing to do. A friend of mine did it 6 times in a day and was sore for a few days. I understand what you're saying and your comments are valuable, but I'm gonna ignore your advice. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should give students tons of homeworks. Protesting a nationwide stay-at-home order. Deleted. So you disconnect the barriers? But ducking yourself with a cactus dildo. Hold on. That's a definite should. Having kids. Not everyone is cut out to be a parent. Society just makes people believe that's just what you do when you grow up. Not everyone realizes they can opt out. Delaying giving money to people that need it so that you can put your name on it. Gestures at everything / Reopening the US. Abusing/forcing your kids to do what you want just because you can doesn't mean you should. Jurassic Park is just that one lesson. Playing music out loud in public. Standing up to pee. I mean, why stand and aim badly with lots of splash when you can sit, have a little rest and pee with no mess? We gotta push for a cultural shift. Urinals are cheap and easy to install. Every home should have one. And a bidet. Paper is ducking barbaric in 2020. Close your eyes and pick any post from r/Amathy hole. Injecting bleach. Being a hole. Having a child. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's ducking awesome dude. Thanks for watching.